I'm Margaret, and welcome to the Boboleros podcast. This is episode 25, and on this podcast, we will be talking about my finished object using Big Birdie by Lamb & Kid. We'll also be talking about AI and how it helped me with my knitting, and hopefully the lessons I learned will be helpful for you, especially in figuring out patterns. And more about that later. Also, we will be drawing a winner for our latest giveaway, as well as introducing the next giveaway, which I think you'll love because it's a favorite yarn of so many, Bien Aimee. Yes, I'm going to be giving away some of that goodness. And I'll be showing you a latest object that I'm working on, a whip, and some other fantastic things. So grab a cup of something delightful and join me, because on this podcast we talk about primarily knitting, but also inspiration from the world of the classical arts, music, fashion, and other random drippings from the brain pan that often do occur. Okay, so let's just choose the winner first. How about that? So just to refresh your memory, we were giving away 3 skeins of this fantastic yarn by Chasing Rabbit's Fiber Company. It's a fingering weight in the colorway Bohème, and it is great for assigned pulling projects. So I did a random number generator and landed on the winner, which is the Autumn Acorn Knits. So congratulations, Acorn Knits. I loved your response to the question, and actually so many responses, all of the responses. I'm so grateful for the tremendous replies to the question, which was about traveling. What is one of your favorite places that you've been to, a memorable time in your life, or a place that you'd like to go to? And Autumn Acorn Knits wrote that Maui, Hawaii was a favorite place. So many of you wrote fantastic places. Hawaii was a big one. New Zealand came up a few times. Sanibel Island, Florida, which is a place that I visited many times and love as well. Olympic State Park. I mean, the answers were just so fantastic. So I love the community. I love that we can learn about each other, and you guys go out of your way to write such beautifully poetic, descriptive replies. I'm so grateful for that, and I just treasure it. So thank you so much. And Autumn Acorn Knits, just contact me at info@thegrandmanor.com, and I will send this right out to you. Just let me know your address. Okay, on to the next giveaway, which, as I mentioned, was some Bien Aimee. So this is in the colorway. It's called Fujimoto. So it is a delightful blues, greens. It's just so sea foamy and mermaid-ish. And this is in the cashmerino base, which, it's so luscious because it is 75% merino, 15% cashmere, 10% nylon. Just the most beautiful, squishy, fantastic base. Could be great for a shawl, socks. I originally got it because I was hoping to make the Rambling Raglan sweater. This was introduced to me, this pattern, by Twin Aura Knits podcast, who I love, these girls, and it's a fantastic pattern. I never got around to making it, and anyway, I think sometimes I have too much yarn. So I am happy to just share it with you. So to win this skein, all you have to do is just reply with this question. So socks. I mentioned that socks might be a nice thing to knit with this. Socks. Are you a sock knitter? If so, tell us about some socks that you've made that you've loved, or if you're not a sock knitter, I am not personally a sock knitter, is that something that you are interested in exploring? I haven't gotten the bug yet, I have to say, for sock knitting. Even my daughter Maia, who's been knitting just a year now, it's been her 1-year knitting anniversary. Yay, Maia. She's already done socks. So I don't know, I'm very late to that party, but I seem to always get distracted by sweaters and shrugs, not so much shawls, but shrugs, and I would say mostly sweaters and outerwear, like little jackets and stuff. I love making that kind of thing. So in any case, let me know, are you interested in making socks? Are you a seasoned pro at socks? Share your sock mojo magic with us here. Okay, so now let's move on to my one finished object, which I'm bringing it out here. And this is, hello friend, this is my fancy sweater. And it's a pattern by Lamb & Kid, and this I knit using the Big Birdie in the colorway Il Mare. And Il Mare was part of their Italian collection in the summer of 2022. I was lucky to get my paws on some skeins of that, and I was intending to make another sweater with it. I was going to make the Badger and Bloom, but instead, I don't know. I wasn't crazy about the contrasting color I selected, and so I just let that go. And then, I don't know, this year has been the year of blue. For me, I've been knitting so much in blue, which is uncharacteristic of me. And then I started to knit the Breton shawl, another pattern by Lamb & Kid, also using Big Birdie. And as I started to make that, I thought, this is just so yummy and delicious. I think I want to repurpose this into a sweater. So I ripped back and I decided to make the fancy sweater. Just because I think I'll get more wear out of a sweater than a shawl. I do wear shawls, but not as much as sweaters. So anyway, I wanted the white stripes. So I saw Leslie Friend's modifications that she made on the fancy sweater, where she was using the Big Birdie and then striping it. So in Leslie's fabulous version, she used, I think as the main body color, Peanut by Lamb & Kid Big Birdie, and also a black contrast for the stripes, and it's so elegant. And Leslie Friend was so awesome to share notes about her modifications on her Ravelry page. So I decided to go with that. I did make some of my own modifications, which I'll share with you. So let's see, the needle size, first of all. The pattern calls for a 9, and I did not have a 9. I don't know where my 9s went, but because the Breton shawl was using 10s and I really liked the fabric I was getting with 10s, I decided to stick with 10s, and I did 10s throughout. Even I think for when I cast on, I think I cast on and started the rib on a 7, and yes, that's what I did. And then also I did the rib for the sleeves on a 7, and then I bound off on a 10, just doing a regular bind off. I didn't do any like special stretchy stuff because I kind of knew I'd have enough room. So size 10s. Now, here's the thing with the size 10s I realized was that I was not on gauge. My gauge was quite a bit, not that much, but it was a bit larger, obviously. So I decided to switch the numbers in the pattern to make it work. And this is what I did. It was just like really super simple, and it was experimental a little bit for me too, but I found it to be an easy workaround, and I'm just going to share what I did with you. So I was making the small size, and because I was already larger in my gauge than I wanted to be for the small, all I did was take 10% off all the numbers for the small size. So if it said cast on 80, I cast on 72. If it said, like, I don't know. Yeah, that was pretty much it. And then every time it said to increase, I followed those increases and decreases, but I just made sure that throughout the pattern, the main numbers were always 10% less. And it worked out great. It really did. So easy math, right? And which is great for me. I'm not a mathematician by any stretch of the imagination. And it worked wonderfully. So I don't know, just a tip, like, don't be afraid to modify. And I love what Caddy Jacks is doing with their knit along right now. It's the 3-day weekend knit along, and it's starting this weekend, July 4th weekend, and I think wrapping up Labor Day weekend. I was watching their Instagram lives about it. It was really a super cool knit along, which I am going to join. So everyone in the knit along is making the Weekender, a sweater by Andrea Mari. And so the Caddy Jacks girls were using Big Birdie. And anyway, I went ahead, I ordered Big Birdie, but in the last Dye to Order event from 2 weeks ago. I thought 3 skeins would be enough, but according to the last live that they did this week, it seems that they ended up using 5 skeins. So the color I ordered was Trippy, the purple, which I've always wanted to knit with. I'm still waiting for the yarn to come, but in the Dye to Order event they're having right now, they didn't have Trippy offered. So I thought, what am I going to do? Because I do want to make it sort of larger. So I figured I'm going to just get 2 more skeins in another purple. And they introduced a new colorway called Midge. So I thought, this is great. So the knit along is all about taking the pattern and modifying. And like for me, long time ago, that would be unheard of to modify sweater patterns. I was just so by the book, by the pattern. I would not dare to go off trail. But I started to experiment with that like 5 years ago. I think it was on my Love Notes sweater where I started to take it in, and because I'd get frustrated by not getting the fit I wanted in my garments. And so I said, well, what's the worst that could happen? I'll decrease, and if I decrease too much, then I'll rip back and, start again or like fix that part. And something, I got more confident. I think so many things in life is just about taking the step and being a little bit afraid and vulnerable to that courageous step. And then once you do that, first time it might be like really frightening, and then you realize it's not so bad. Either it works or it doesn't. But knitting is so forgiving because you could always rip back and you can always just redo, right? So it's so plastic, and I love that about knitting. It's something that sewing, I've never really, I could sew a bit. I've sewed curtains in my house, not really garments. I want to do a pillow. But I find like with sewing, it's not the same plasticity. Like if you make a mistake, if you get it too short or something, like you really cannot repair that except starting again. I don't know how you would repair it. I'm not that experienced. But in any case, I love the plasticity of knitting. So anyway, thank you, Caddy Jacks, for giving us that space to experiment and to make modifications and to go boldly to making things customized. And that's what knitting is all about. I think one of the bonuses is that we can make things to fit us perfectly. And how many times can we actually find even like a pair of jeans that fits us great? I mean, we're lucky if we get close, but like a perfect fit, I'm still waiting for that. But with knitting, you could get the perfect fit. And all it takes is just kind of, trying on as you go. In any case, I'm going on too much about that. So what I'm going to do with the Weekender is color block. So my I'm waiting for all the yarn to come in and then I'll start. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do, but I think it'll be fun. I like the idea of just not really having a plan and seeing where the colors kind of take you. One thing that I've kind of noticed, and the more I talk to people in different creative fields, they seem to also say the same thing. There's one thing to have a plan, like, you know, how you're going to go about knitting this thing, but there's another part of the process that once you're in it and once you start feeling the way the fabric is working up, the colors are working up, and you start to then have another point of view, and so then that journey could take you where you didn't plan on. And that's what's so exciting, is just letting go, being in it, and then seeing where it takes you. So I'm so curious where that's going to lead. So if you're making the knit along, let me know in the comments. Let me know which colors you're doing, what yarn, what mods you're going to do. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. I think I'm going to make it pretty oversized because I don't have things like that in my wardrobe. Getting back to this sweater, I followed Leslie's modifications for the stripes. I think the only difference I made was 10 rows in between my stripes. I think Leslie used 8. I used 10 just because I wasn't sure I'd have enough of the white contrasting yarn. So anyway, that's it. It worked up super fast. It was my first time knitting with Big Birdie, and I have to say I absolutely loved it. It is the most delicious fabric. Even putting this on, it feels like liquid softness. I don't even know how to put it into words. It's just so buttery and so luxurious, and yet so cozy. So here it is. For this part, I did only cast on and 1 row. And then for every stripe, I did 2 rows of stripes. And I thought I would actually do a white band on the bottom. And then I thought, I don't know, I just didn't like that. So I decided to keep it just plain blue. Rip back and reknit that part. And then my sleeves, I did a bit of a longer rib. I think it's about 2.5 inches, because I sort of like that look, a longer rib. And that's it. I mean, I just think this is just such a fun, easy, casual. I love the nautical vibes here. Nautical, did I say nautical? Nautical vibes. Yeah, it's got some like Parisian situation going on here. I love it. I mean, the sleeves, I made them, sometimes on the second sleeve I get really messed up. I don't know why. I measure and I think, okay, I got it. They're back to back. It's even. They're equal. No, I bound off, and this is like always happening to me. I don't know why. I bind off and then I try it on, and like I have one sleeve shorter than another, and then I'm like, why did I do that? Like, how did that happen? I don't even know. I even put stitch markers like to let me know where I increased. I followed all that. Still, I had to rip back and make it longer. But in any case, fabulous pattern, fabulous knit, fabulous yarn. I can't wait to start my next Big Birdie project is all I have to say. And I'm happy for myself to have a very versatile, easy to wear sweater because, I think we talked about it on one podcast. I'm making fantasy sweaters for most of the time, which I never end up wearing. And this is great because this is practical and this is easy to wear and this is fun. And so I just love it. Okay, on to the next portion. I think I hope that you will be just as inspired by this next segment as I was when I learned about it. So there is a designer from Denmark I never heard of before. Maybe you have. Her name is Ingunn Birkeland. So I was introduced to her on a recent trip I did to a first to me visit, like I've never been to that yarn store, but it's about an hour away. Cute place. I love the owners. So it was Carol and Anna at Yarn Tapestry in New Jersey. So anyhow, I go, and you know, like when you, especially with knitters, you meet knitters and you feel like you've known them all your life. And that was the feeling. Like right away we were just chatting and, oh, I love this, I love that. Have you seen this? Have you seen that? And then Carol says to me, have you ever seen Ingunn Birkeland's Instagram? And I said, who is that? And then I fell hard down this rabbit hole. So Ingunn Birkeland wrote a book of knitting patterns, and when I saw the color blocking that she does, I just went bonkers. Sorry, the lighting is a little bit crazy, but it just was so colorful, so fun, and yeah, look at some of these pictures. So good. So good. Some summer tops. I mean, and these mitts. Look at these mitts. Right? I mean, so what she does is she creates these color palettes that are very well researched, thought out. I mean, it has a lot of color theory in it. And she works with Rauma Garn, which is a yarn company that is European. And so throughout this book, she gives you the yarn recipes that she used. So these are like different like formulas. So you can substitute, you can make different ones. It's very well organized and planned out. There's a ton of charts here. But the only thing is the whole book is in Danish, which I don't understand Danish. So here's where I decided to use the computer to try to help me. So my first step was, well, let me first show you the sweater that I want to make. This is the sweater I want to make. You see? Sorry, like the lighting is so bad here, but that's the one. However, I would like to make it in this black version. So, in any case, this has the it has a chart, but it also has instructions in Danish, which I needed to translate. So I went to Google Translate and I decided to, word by word, type in the Danish. Let me tell you, that was taking me a long time. Little by little, word by word, putting it in, and Google Translate, is a great thing. It's pretty amazing, the technology we have these days. It was giving me a translation, but it wasn't recognizing that this is a knitting pattern, and I guess some words it missed. So every time there was, I don't know, something having to do with slipping a stitch or something like that, it would call it monster. So be like, take the monster. And I was like, what is that? Anyway, so you could see that I was having, not only was it very labor intensive and slow, it also was not clear. So I was, telling my husband, and he said, well, why don't you use AI? And I said, what? AI could do that? Like, I have no experience with AI. I don't even know how to use it or how to access it. So he told me, get this app. So I'm just showing you. It's called Chat Guru. Okay, so I got this Chat Guru, and I opened it up. And the first step, I should preface it by saying, I took out my phone. I took the pattern I wanted. I took a picture of the pattern with my phone, and I saved it as a PDF. I use iScanner app for that. Once it was saved as PDF, it's very simple to just select all of the text, copy, and then I pasted that text into the chat guru. And then right away, I mean, it was like within 30 seconds, I got the pattern translated for me in English, and to boot, Chat Guru recognized that it was a pattern, a knitting pattern, and so all the terminology was correct. It blew my mind. It just blew my mind, okay? So I'm sure that Chat Guru is not the only one that can do this. It's the one I happen to use. I found that I had to actually upgrade to the paid version, which was, it was like, I can't remember, it was like $3 or something, because I was surpassing the number of characters or something that I could use. In any case, it was well worth it to me because I really want to make this sweater. I'm so pumped to make this sweater. And now I actually have an English version of it. So I just share this with you because I was astonished. This is very new to me, this whole thing with AI and how to use it and how it can really help us out in knitting. I'm sure you might have patterns that are foreign patterns that you'd like to translate. I mean, I'm thinking even for Japanese patterns, how easy that would be to just take a picture, like scan it, save it as a PDF, and then copy and paste the characters into the Chat Guru and then have it translate. I mean, incredible what the technology could do. In any case, that is something that blew my mind. So let me just show you the color palette, which I then ordered. So I went online, I found the Rauma garn. She uses for the pattern a fingering weight called Finnel by Rauma Garn. Again, I apologize for this lighting today. Rauma Garn. So this is the main colorway, and because it's black, I needed to get 5 of them. Here's another thing, it's fingering weight. So my motto is I don't make fingering weight sweaters, but here I go again. So just to give you a flavor of these colors that Ingunn has created, like what a palette. And it's so harmonious. There's, you know, like a color family, and she'll have cooler and warmer tones. This is essential. And then some pops. I just think it's awesome to have a collection, a palette to work with that is, you know, so well, like, you know, customized for this. I'm going to try to hold up all of the colors. So they're actually, in addition to the black body color, there's 14 others. 14 colors. I can't even hold them up, all of them. But just to give you an idea, this is it. Like, oh yeah, Candy Land. It's a candy land of colors. So I was studying the colors. It seems like there is an orange presentation here. So under the orange category, you'll have like some peachy tones. You'll have a red-pink category, and there's a lot in the red-pink family. That, and this is in the red-pink, and this one. And then there's a purple representation. There's a purple family, okay? And then, like, this is kind of in the purple family. And I can't wait to get started. So anyway, yeah, I mean, what can I say? Ingunn, take a look at her Instagram. I'm going to link it below. Wow, the creative color energy is just beyond belief. And I think she also does things with sewing and fabrics, and it's unbelievable. Anyway, woo, yeah, okay. On to my whip, And my whip is another Lamb and Kid project, and this time I am making the mini mock neck tank, and this is a Jessie May design. When I saw this again advertised, I thought, do I need to make something with fingering weight? No, but it was something that Maya and I had wanted to do together. So she chose the colorway Pout, which is, oh, wait till I show you Pout. It just was incredible. It was like this pop of pink. It was such a vibrant, gorgeous pink. And I chose the Sunny Side Up. I love it. Tassi Studio, I think you wrote that you're also making one in this. So I'm so excited to twin with you. I haven't gotten that far. The plan was that this would be we were down at the beach for a few days this week, and the plan was to make big progress. Obviously, I did not. I think this is the beginnings of the back, but at least I got to the part where you put it on a stitch holder. I put it on my barber cords, which now I have like a large accumulation of them. Which is so handy, and that's it. That's as far as I've gotten. But it's a lovely knit, and I really enjoy this yarn too. It's called Trio, and yeah, we'll see how that progresses, and yeah. What more can I say? Maya and I were knitting on this at the beach, and I think she got about to the same place. And we were lucky that we got the yarn in time for our trip. So that was a big win. And that's what I've got on the knitting front. Now for random drippings from the brain pan. So this is like where I just talk about like things that have inspired me this week. And I'm so blessed that I have just so many wonderful experiences in my life and wonderful people that are creative and share their gifts and talents with me. So this is kind of a funny story because, again, this has been my year of blue, and it started with the first day of the year. In January, I bought this book. My local Barnes & Noble was having a 50% off sale, and I'd like to say that I am so literary that I bought this Marcel Proust book, Swan's Way, to read it cover to cover and be the intellectual I aspire to be, but not the case. I bought it because I love this blue. Maybe one day I will read it. I hope to. I'm sure it's an amazing book, but I just thought, isn't this gorgeous? Like, even the side of the pages have that blue color. This is by Penguin Publishing. Anyway, I love art, like the artistry behind the covers of books, and when the pages are this kind of indigo. I don't know if it's indigo really. It's just such a cobalt. Maybe cobalt is a better description. So the cobalt kind of vibes there, but cobalt vibes yet again in another magical moment that happened to me this week while down the shore. One of my favorite places to visit when we go down the shore is a little spot in South Jersey, New Jersey, called Ocean Grove. It's incredible. It's an incredible place. It's a little bit of a time capsule. They have Victorian houses everywhere, late 1800s. They have a massive grand auditorium that hosts church services. It hosts concerts, musical events. I'm going back next week for a choral festival. They have organ festivals, and it just beyond belief what goes on there. And this auditorium is actually built by ship makers that I think came over from either Germany or Netherlands, or I don't know, from that area. And they were skilled ship makers, and they used that kind of engineering to make this massive hall which they wanted to use as their place for Sunday worship. They made it in record time. It took them, I think, less than a year. It might have even been like 6 months. And when you're in there, it looks like you are in the hull of a ship, because it's got this dome made out of all these planks of wood. It's apparent that it's like an upside down boat. It's like being in Noah's Ark upside down. The acoustics are sublime. I think Tony Bennett has sung there and says this is his most favored place to sing for the acoustics. It's that astonishingly good. So anyway, no visit to Ocean Grove is complete without going there, and also without stepping into one of my favorite shops called the Mermaid Haberdashery. And I stumbled upon this store 2 years ago, and it was like a magical place. You just enter, it's a small store, but it's filled with like mermaid's treasures, like beautiful jewelry that the owner Ellie makes, vintage clothes, hats. I mean, like, you step into a bygone time of glamour when you enter. Their sunglasses and like little hair ornaments and shoes. And every time we go there, we just come out with like these little special treasures. And I think the greatest treasure of all, for sure, hands down, is Ellie, the owner, because she makes you feel like the most special person. She makes you feel so like loved, and she does that with every customer that enters. And I think it's a little bit her southern hospitality, but it's mostly her incredible heart. She's such a beautiful person inside and out. So Ellie Matthias and her husband John are both artists, and so John is a painter. So Ellie's store is peppered with his work. Peppered. I don't know why I use that word. Peppered. But his art is on display in her store. And I don't know, I was there on Monday night, and amidst all the beautiful jewelry and like the gowns and, the opulence, the shoes and all the adornments, I saw this like cobalt blue, and it just caught my eye. And it was in one of John's paintings, and it just so captured my heart that I want to share it with you. So it's quite large, but let me just show you. So I might have to step back. Can you see it? Okay, I'm going to just put it down. So this painting is mostly blue sky, and then there's a house and grass. But look at the proportion of the blue sky versus the house. Like, I wish I could show you like the full dimensions of it, but let me just say, the sky is about 2/3 of the painting, and the house is like 1/3. And it's just so sublime. And when I saw this, I just thought, the way I kind of interpreted this for myself was, sometimes it's easy to focus on the earthly things, our problems, stuff. And for me, the house represented that. Like, yes, it's an absolutely gorgeous house, no doubt. But, the clouds. But then there's this, like, huge swathe of sky. It's like, that is the thing, like, to think about the things that are higher and not to get trapped in, like, worldly problems. Which this year I kind of needed that message, because I was sort of not seeing the big picture. So I said this is a big picture. And I'd like to see the big picture with this big picture. And it's helping me to see the big picture. Does that make sense? Anyway, I just thought I'd share. So, beautiful, beautiful painting. John is truly a master artist, master painter, classical training, which is so apparent. So anyway, talk about color harmony as well. Absolutely amazing. So on that note, I would just leave you with that big picture spirit of just looking up, taking time to smell the roses, being happy for the moment, living in the moment, and enjoying this gorgeous, gorgeous moment. All right, so thanks for sharing it with me, and I'll see you really soon.